Here we go, second match of the day between the Skyborne Rangers and the Fancy Cloud Dancers. First off, for the Skyborne Rangers, we have the Reborn, piloted by Sunstrom. This map is too dark. I can't see any of the I can't see any of the guns. It's a Mercury dual Artemis Mobula with a flare gun and Gatling on the outer wings. Their ally, the Tickle Tuesday, I don't think that's stream appropriate. Piloted by Solidus Bucket. Gatling Hwacha on the left side with the Banshee. Heavy Carronade on the right. Their opponents, the Fancy Cloud Dancers. We have the Fancy Hydra with a Mercury field gun. Dual Artemis on lower decks. Hades on the left. Gatling on the right. I've been seeing Daniel run this a few times in recent tournaments. And the Gizmo Duck with triple Artemis, Gatling, and Mortar, piloted by Spudnik. So my understanding, as the team's already engaging here, my understanding is that the Fancy Hydra, the triple piercing layout, is designed so it's able to get piercing damage at every range and any arcs. So if the opponent is close to you, far away, above, below, you've got the Hades, you've got the Gatling, you got the Merc, and then the Gizmo Duck runs the triple Artemis, so it can just do explosive from wherever it is. And that's how he explained the build to me. However, Tickle Tuesday has the potential to do a lot of damage to this blue Junker if it can utilize the right side heavy carronade. Here it comes, it's turning. Gatling coming out. Are we going to see a Hwacha? Hwacha coming out, doing a lot of damage to the Gizmo Duck. Gizmo Duck sitting at 25% perma hull. Fancy Hydra going for a ram on the Reborn. I don't know if this is the best option. They appear to be losing the fight, and Reborn has yet to lose their own hull armor. Fancy Hydra's balloon also super low. They do get a hull break on the Reborn, but Fancy Hydra, with their low balloon, unable to do any maneuverability here. They can't dodge any of these incoming shots. In the meantime, looks like Tickle Tuesday has decided to back off from the Gizmo Duck, content to knock out most of their engines and guns to try to help their ally, the Reborn. Fancy Hydra refocusing on the Tickle Tuesday, and there's that triple Artemis. As you can see, Fancy Hydra, they do the piercing, Gizmo Duck does the explosive follow-up. So on this next armor break, one Artemis shot will finish him off. There it goes. Shrike, first to perish in this fight, 1 point on the board for the Fancy Cloud Dancers. And now Reborn probably going to want to disengage here because they are outgunned by these two blue ships. I do not know where the spawns are on this map. Let's see where the Shrike decides to respawn. Taking their good time. Reborn, okay, there's an armor break. Not what you want to see when you're trying to disengage. Taking about 8% perma hull. Are they... Seems like they're maybe trying to do something tricky here, the Skyborne Rangers. Because the Fancy Cloud Dancers are... Yeah, there it is. Okay, the Fancy Cloud Dancers, the Reborn was baiting FCD. This is incredible map knowledge. They're baiting them past the red spawn point so that Tickle Tuesday could spawn directly behind them. And here he comes, trying to get the heavy carronade into arc onto the Fancy Hydra. Gizmo Duck already putting Artemis onto the red Shrike. Reborn focusing the Fancy Hydra. The Fancy Hydra doing his best to stay above the Tickle Tuesday so he cannot use his powerful close-range guns. But we might be seeing a Hwacha barrage here in a moment, and there it is. Armor about to go down. Is the Artemis from the Reborn going to be able to finish off the Fancy Hydra? No. Reborn has become preoccupied with the Gizmo Duck and the close-range Gatling Mortar. Being forced away. Armor goes down. Mortar's coming out. Oh, Mortar's destroying the Reborn. Great utilization of the high ground from Gizmo Duck. But Fancy Hydra is low as well, and it's possible the Fancy Hydra is going to go down before Gizmo Duck is able to re-engage with their ally onto the Tickle Tuesday. Let's see. Heavy Carronade is up on the Shrike. Balloon is down on the Fancy Hydra along with the armor. They're one shot away. Anything will kill the Fancy Hydra, but they're falling below the Shrike's gun arcs. So there's no way for the Tickle Tuesday to follow up. And with the triple Artemis of the Gizmo Duck coming back into play, Tickle Tuesday has to back out. Reborn has also, utilizing the same spawn point that the Tickle Tuesday did originally, has gotten a fast spawning here and already has the long-range guns onto the Fancy Hydra. If Fancy Cloud Dancers, or excuse me, if Skyborne Rangers have been communicating, or if they notice that the Fancy Hydra is in stage 3 of damage, they know the blue Mobula is close to death. Oh, one of the Artemis shots missing, but the second one able to finish off the blue mob. And Gizmo Duck is just chilling. He's hanging. He's like, yo, I don't think he's going to be able to get out of this pickle. Flare coming down, not hitting any of the components on the Gizmo Duck. Gatling trying to make its way to the whole armor, doing a little bit of balloon damage. Gizmo Duck backing up. Ooh, they broke the whole armor of the Tickle Tuesday with that backwards ram. But I think this is probably going to be it. With both Reborn and Tickle Tuesday firing onto the Gizmo Duck, the Blue Junker's armor not long for this world. He's trying to tar, but nobody's behind him, so it's not going to do a whole lot except damage his own engines. And yeah, that's going to be it for the Gizmo Duck. Tying up the game 2-2 at about the 13-minute mark. Now Fancy Hydra spawned in. Tickle Tuesday super damaged from that fight. It was a very long, protracted engagement. Reborn, that was a really impressive strategic play from Skyborne Rangers. Reborn baiting blue team past that spawn point so that the Shrike could flank. It's one of the things you can definitely do on these smaller maps to great effect. Now the Fancy Hydra in the Reborn taking some long range shots. Tickle Tuesday a little far out. Long range Washer Barrage coming in, doing a little bit of damage to the Fancy Hydra. Gizmo Duck rejoining the fight with triple Artemis, focusing on the Tickle Tuesday. Armor break on the Fancy Hydra. No explosive follow-up before the armor is rebuilt. Oh, one Artemis shot. Let's look and see. Looks like charged ammo on the Gatling gun for the Tickle Tuesday. Both the blue ships focusing on the Reborn. Tickle Tuesday probably wants to make a play here, because Reborn, again, it's Tickle Tuesday does not really have any long-range guns. The Watchet is the most effective long-range gun that it has, which is not a great option for fighting at these distances. So Reborn by itself is going to be outgunned by the Fancy Cloud Dancers, and because Tickle Tuesday has so much damage on them, they have so little health left, they have to be very careful. This is one of those situations that you can get into even if you win a fight. If you take a lot of damage, you're going to the next fight with a huge liability. So as soon as their armor goes down, they die, and they have to be very careful when they pick their spots. And it looks like this is the spot they've decided to pick, finally getting that heavy carronade into effect, perhaps the first time in the match, taking down the balloon of the Fancy Hydra. Reborn doing a lot of long-range follow-up damage, taking out the armor, doing about 40% permahull. Gizmo Duck trying to stay near the Mobula to push the Tickle Tuesday away. Heavy carronade taking out the balloon and the armor. Ooh, able to finish them off with the Banshee and the Artemis. The red team is. Gizmo Duck now being dual focused. They're not going to be able to outrun this Shrike, and the long range guns of the Reborn will be able to follow them pretty much wherever they go. So I think they're probably going to try to get a fast kill on the Tickle Tuesday, unless the Tickle Tuesday decides to play this a little more defensively. They are running away. Ooh, Fancy Hydra Hey, Fancy Cloud Dancers saying to the Skyborne Rangers, hey, you know where the spawn points are. We do also. Spawning directly behind the Reborn, immediately engaging the Gatling gun. Let's see how much damage these dual Artemis can do. I'm not sure they're going to be able to get an armor break on that. No, just barely unable to get the armor break on the first Gatling clip. This next one will definitely finish it off, though. Artemis taking down the Reborn's gun, so it's not going to have a lot of firepower to push them back. Tickle Tuesday also rejoining, forcing the Fancy Hydra up. Reborn not taking too much damage from that surprise attack, but Tickle Tuesday now getting dual focus by both the Gizmo Duck and the Fancy Hydra. If the armor goes down, they're going to die. Artemis, where's the Artemis? Oh, no Artemis to follow up and kill the Red Shrike, but they did enough damage that Tickle Tuesday was forced out of the fight. And Reborn almost completely disabled. 3 guns, 2 engines down. Gatling from the Gizmo Duck. Gonna break the armor. Are we gonna see mortars? There's the mortars. One more. Reborn goes down. Game all tied up 3-3. And potentially a 4th point here if the Tickle Tuesday is unable to escape. A little bit of Defiant Hwacha onto the Fancy Hydra. Only taking down 1 gun. Strike does go down. Fancy Cloud Dancers taking the lead. And that was a really beneficial engagement for the Fancy Cloud Dancers, because as I was saying earlier, not only did they get, I think they ended up trading 2-1 over the course of that whole fight, but Fancy Hydra, not only did they come out with a point lead, but they took very little damage in that engagement. Fancy Hydra with about 20% damage on, 15% damage on them. And the Junker, no damage whatsoever. Red Team was trying very hard to kill the Mobula and was just unable to. So we'll see where the Skyborne Rangers decide to spawn. If they go for something tricky, like we've seen before, no. I guess they're taking a safe spawn behind this mountain. I really wish this map was brighter. This is not so dark. It's because you turn off the names and it's basically just a bunch of dark smudges moving around the map. That's what it looks like to me. Reborn moving in to engage Gatling onto the Fancy Hydra. Gizmo Duck saying no, I have Artemis. Gatling has gone down on the Reborn. The real deciding factor here is going to be what the Tickle Tuesday decides to do, because they have the greatest potential to swing this fight if they can engage one of those 2 heavy weapons. And it's unclear. They're flying by here. Did not shoot either the Hwacha or the heavy carronade. So it seems they're just repositioning, trying to get into a spot where they can attack at a later point, making sure they don't lose those heavy weapons. Oh, Manticore goes down. So they're not going to be able to... Yeah. Just having a lot of difficulty keeping those heavy weapons up in the face of the 5 Artemis that Fancy Cloud Dancers are packing. Oh, Tickle Tuesday. He's just unable to do it. The Artemis shots are on point. They can't do anything. Doesn't matter what angle they attack from. He's trying to moonshine away, but the engines are low. 2 engines down, 1 just rebuilt. And Reborn's being kept in check by the Gizmo Duck. Oh, and this might be it for the Tickle Tuesday. Get charged Gatling from the Gizmo Duck, breaking the armor. If any of these mortar shots hits, no mortar follow-up. No Artemis from the Fancy Hydra either. Fancy Hydra still preoccupied with the Reborn, and Reborn able to take a kill onto the Blue Mobula. And Tickle Tuesday has full armor. They're moonshining away. This might be... The Fancy Cloud Dancers might have thrown this match on. They had no follow-up for the Tickle Tuesday. And now the Gizmo Duck has lost their armor. The Watch is coming out, doing a huge amount of damage. 40% permahull. 5 minutes left in the match, but I don't think we're going to need it. Next armor break. Probably going to be it for the Gizmo Duck. There's the armor break from the Gatling. Artemis coming out, finishing them off. 5-4. for the Skyborne Rangers. Very well played, utilizing their map knowledge. The Shrike, I want to say, didn't do a whole lot of damage, but they were very distracting, and they were able to take the focus away from the Reborn so that the Reborn could output the full effect of its long-range guns. Very well played.